The following program discusses sensitive issues. Parents are cautioned that some material may be too candid for younger children.
Hello and welcome again to Pure Choices. I'm your host, Pastor Joshua Nelson, and we have another exciting program lined up for you today. We have some bright young men from the ministry of Pure Reality, a ministry based in Miami, Florida. And so they've just come to talk to us a little bit about purity, sexuality, and these topics here. So I just want to begin by talking with my man here, Sasha. Actually, introduce yourself for us. All three of you introduce yourself for us, then I'm going to hear from Sasha. Go ahead.
I'm Sasha Diambois. I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and I'm a freshman at Oakwood University.
All right.
My name is Jonathan Gustave, also from Miami, Florida, of Haitian descent, and I also, at this time, at the moment, I attend Oakwood University.
My name is Maxwood, Annulus, originally from Haiti, now living in Miami, Florida, and I'm a Kean Baxter.
All right, well, looks like we got some strong Haitian brothers here with us today. It's all right. I want to also introduce to you my co-host for today. This is, go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Kean Baxter, and I just finished the seminary.
All right, all right. So we have some educated men here today, and we want to just talk to Pure Reality, this ministry again. And I want to just talk to Sasha a little bit. Share with us just a little bit about your testimony and kind of why you're here.
Well, growing up in the church is very... What usually happens is that you just do things out of routine, and you never know why you do it. So I was told, you know, keep your hands to yourself and don't mess around with the girls, you know. But after a certain age, and you start getting feelings like that, you don't know why, you just do it. Thankfully, I never got to the place where I tried to explore anything. Pure Reality was there. So after I went to Pure Reality, you know, I understood why. Understood why I didn't do certain things. And it wasn't just about sex. It was just about why I believe in what I believe in and why I obey certain laws. And then I made my decision finally, you know, that I'm worth something enough to stay away and abstain from the worldly things, because it's really not worth it in the end.
That's awesome, man. So as a young man, you made that choice to be pure, you know, and it had a lot to do with this Pure Reality ministry. So what I want to ask then is, what is this Pure Reality ministry? What is it? Why is it so important? What does it do? What, you know? So what? You know, why should someone take part in this Pure Reality ministry?
Well, I would say this Pure Reality ministry, it opens the door for young people to come with their burdens.
Okay.
Whether it be sexual, immoral things, whether it be things that you're struggling at home with your parents. It's a place, it's like a safe haven, and you know that when you go there, you come with all your burdens, but you leave with all the hope of the Lord, because now you see the light at the tunnel, and you can begin to build relationships with these people there that can help you to grow in Christ and to grow out of the things that the world is telling you that you should be.
That's awesome. So it really creates that open environment for people to talk, or even men to come and talk about these issues and stuff.
A lot of people would wonder why put yourself through this? This sexual urge is so strong. What's the point of trying to stop it and try to just be pure?
Well, if we understand who we are and who made us, I should say, then you will see the grand scope of why you should stay pure. Because it's more than just not having sex, or it's more than just not watching pornography, but it's keeping yourself not only for that person to come, but for the Lord. Because a lot of us may not get married before God comes, but we're keeping ourselves for Him. And this is where He speaks to us, you know, in our minds, in our bodies. And He wants us to be pure in a way where we can glorify Him, so that the world can see that it is possible in the midst of all these things that we see, you know, on the shows and commercials and all these perverse things. There's a people that can be pure, and it starts from a very young age. That's why the enemy does this thing where he tries to instill the impure things at a very young age, at the age of 6, 7, you know, even younger.
I want to piggyback on that, and I want to ask Maxwood, do you feel like you're missing out on anything by being involved in this ministry?
Not at all. I actually believe that I'm gaining more. The message that Jesus preached when he was here was, when you leave the things of earth, you gain in heaven. And I think our whole, as Christians, our whole mindset should be not to try and live in the now, but to try to restore and regain that perfection, that purity, that when Jesus and God originally made us in Garden of Eden, that's what we should need to get back to. Right. And that's what purity is about. That's what pure reality's message is about. When I first encountered pure reality back in 2007, I thought it was just a sex camp. Like, you know, okay, don't have sex. Right. I thought that's all it was. Yeah. But through my years until now, I realized that it's more than that. It's your language. It's your mindset. It's the way that you treat others. And purity is who God is. So if we say that we are Christians, if we say that we are followers of Christ, then we should seek to try and be just like him. And that's why I believe that I'm not losing anything at all, because even the things of earth that we gain now, we can't take with us, whether we go to heaven or to hell.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, that's something that really, personally, I had to struggle with, saying, you know, wow, there's so many good things out there, or things you think would be good out there in the world that you, all your friends are doing, you want to engage in all these things, but really saying, hey, I'm going to forego this now for what God has for me later, and really believing that. But it's hard. That's hard. You know, it's hard. So, you know, what struggles have you really felt in really tackling that and really saying, I'm going to do this thing? You know?
Well, personally, you know, being in school, being in college as a freshman, everybody always wants to go to parties, or everybody always wants to do certain things. But right now it isn't hard, but my hardship took place my senior year of high school, because I was going through so much, you know. Well, school was stressing me out, and it was just at home. I was not used, because my parents were arguing, so I wasn't used to it. So what happened was I started drinking to go to sleep, and I couldn't sleep unless I was heavily, like, very near, like, knockout intoxication. And then when I finally came to and realized what was going on with me, and I realized that I was literally a drunkard, I had to pray that off of me. I had to pray that away from me. And it was so difficult because, you know, like, when you're going through things in your conscious mind, I was never able to understand why people did drugs if they were just going to come back up. It's just that separation where you're not conscious, where you can't think about things clearly, is just enough. You know, it was just enough to put me to sleep at that time. But the prayer that I prayed wasn't necessarily, God, take away the alcohol, because if he just took away the alcohol, the desire would still be there. I had to pray for my perspective of the situation to be changed, because the problem was not necessarily the alcohol, it was the fact that I wanted it. You know, right. And just like that, just like with purity and all of that, we're just naturally sinful, naturally perverse people. So what I've realized is I need to stop praying for actions to change, because actions only change from an inner change. So when I had to pray, God, from the very beginning, help me to make Jesus my alcohol, you know, make Jesus my crutch, so that when I'm going through situations, when I'm going through things that are rough, I can pray and he can be the peace that gives me, that I go to sleep. Because in Psalms it says that rest, you know, not just sleep, but rest in your sleep, that's a gift from God. So if I wanted to rest, I had to go back to heaven so that I could get that gift, and that's what I prayed for. And that's how I got over it.
That's deep, and I want to just, I got to touch on that right there, because that's really where it is for a lot of men. You know, we have this desire, but there you are saying, I'm praying to God, saying, take away this desire. Start with the root of it is. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Powerful.
Maxwood, I wanted to ask you about a teen ambassador. What is that about?
Peer ambassadors, all we are young people who have attended the retreat and really just want to give back and spread this gospel. We have our directors and our people who put on the program of the retreat itself, but they are older, and most of them don't have the time and the knowledge to reach the youth that we have as young people. So they need us as a workforce to go out there and really spread this message. So we went to training to actually know when we go to churches what to say, what to present, what to talk about, how to respond. We put on skits and plays, and we go around, and we ourselves have to be able to hold up that banner, and it's not easy at all, because now it's an extra spotlight on you. But I don't mind that spotlight because it's an extra boost of accountability. Because I look at it as, man, okay, now I'm someone people are looking for as a role model, so I really have to step my game up and make sure I stay up to the standards that are required. So we're just a group of young people willing to give back and willing to really take this message to the next level, because I'm a Sabbath school teacher, I'm a Pathfinder counselor. I deal with young people my age or younger on a regular basis, and I see it's death in our youth, in our churches, and there's so much that we are dealing with. So I believe being a peer ambassador has helped me to just be able to deal with those issues that I deal with by being a Sabbath school teacher and a Pathfinder counselor. So that's what being a teen ambassador is all about.
That's good.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. So as you are doing this teen ambassadors, you're going out and talking to these various men and ladies, whatever you're talking about this subject. I want to just come at it from man's perspective. Let's just be real now. As men, we have this natural, it seems more than the women do, this urge. We have this natural desire just to have sex and just to go around and spread our seed, if you want to say, with whoever we come in contact with. A lot of the songs even talk about that. That we often hear. So here you have men listening now, and we're just saying, how do you really stop? I mean, come on, y'all sitting here, we're sitting here, acting like we got it all together. But how do you stop? How do you really get to that point? I know, Sasha, you want to talk about the spiritual aspect of it.
It's just you have to fill up your tank, because when you go to the war, you don't start doing push-ups on the front line. You do that before. You get your muscles ready. You make sure that you're physically fit, you have endurance, so that you can fight it. And so many times we're looking for results, but we don't want to put work in. But that's not even scientific, because every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction. So if I don't put any time in, I don't do my devotions in the morning, I don't pray, it's not that necessarily I'm going to be tempted less if I pray in the morning.
Right.
It's just the fact that when I pray in the morning, or when I take time to give God his time, I have to be tempted more for the devil to even get results. So when I don't pray, I mean, that first temptation that comes, that first slight hint of something that is wrong, I'm going to jump at it, because I have not put my guard up from the morning. And there's so many verses in the Bible that talk about how to resist temptation. Greater is he that is in me than is he that is in the world, things like that. And it's just a matter of removing yourself from the equation and realizing that this is not your battle. God has already won. So when the devil comes at you with something like that, you just need to remove yourself and stand behind Christ. Because behind Christ, temptations can come, but they can never make it through. They can never penetrate the protection that you've put up from the morning when you've woken up.
That's good. I like the imagery, but Kean, honestly, man, I mean, I'm sitting here listening to this. This is great, but I mean, let's be practical. I mean, what does that really look like, though, to stand behind Christ?
I would say, to make it practical, for me personally, it would begin with relationships. And the number one relationship is Jesus, of course, because you can't just tell a guy, oh, stay pure, don't have sex, don't touch her. Why are you doing this? So you got to get to know the person, Jesus, first for yourself. And then God will start to reveal to you the practical things that you can do. Me, I like to work out. I like to play basketball, and just having that accountability. Being with guys that are willing to be open. I think that's one of the most important things. If you have a group of friends that are willing to be open, to talk about their struggles when they're in their personal rooms, then you'll be able to share your things. And then, you guys know, man, I'm not alone in this. But on the other hand, if you have friends that are about doing the things that the world does, then the pressure comes. And I think a lot of young men, we put ourselves in those positions. We put ourselves in a position where, okay, we have these type of friends, and we grew up with these friends, and we just want to stay tight with them, but God is leading us in a different direction. But we don't want to leave our friends. And then when we get around our friends, we're trying to be holy, and then they're clowning us. They're making fun of us because, oh, you're trying to do this. is inevitable. You're going to go right back to the same thing. So it's all, I think it starts with your crowd of people. You know, start finding things you can do, you know, meeting other people, being active in church, playing sports. You know, guys, we're macho, like sports. Play sports, you know, go work out, do things like that.
Okay. That sounds good, sounds good. So we can just kind of make sure we have it all together here. Stand behind Christ. You know, get the relationship with Jesus. You know that that's kind of the reason why you're doing it there. You know, you were, and I like to talk about the fact that you were bought with a price. You know, 1 Corinthians, you know, you're bought with a price. And so you glorify God in your body. You know, you understand that you're His. But also now, going a little further, you're saying, okay, let's get accountability partner. You know, and I think what Max was saying, you know, earlier he was saying, stay busy. Stay busy,
definitely, because when you find yourself in idle times, that's when temptation comes. You know, you're on the computer at midnight, really not doing anything productive, you get all kinds of temptations. Personally, I developed a pornography addiction at the age of 12. It wasn't my first time exposed to it, but that's when the addiction started. And at the age of 18, 19, that's when I really wanted to make a conscious decision to, you know, be removed from that. And that process still continues to be totally delivered from it. But during that process, I had to do some practical things to detach myself from that. I had to get off my Facebook for a couple months because simple triggers as a girl posting a picture of herself in a certain manner, which probably to her don't even look like nothing, was just like, and next thing I know, I'm on another website doing what I'm not supposed to be doing. Simple things like that. So in fighting this battle, we really have to be ingrained in it, not to give the enemy any, don't give him an inch, don't give him nothing at all, because he's gonna take it, and he's gonna take advantage of it. He studies us. He knows our weaknesses. He knows the areas. He knows what we like. He knows what our minds and hearts desire. He knows as men we are visual. He knows that. So he's going to place those things within our paths to try and deter us. So it's our responsibility, if we really want to be pure, to put ourselves in a situation where we won't even have to face them. So those practical things in doing, staying busy, not spending time doing idle things, conversations, you know, knowing that, hey, I may not, even if I'm in a relationship with a young lady, maybe talking after 10 o'clock at night is not good for us.
My Lord.
Because we all know after a certain time on
something
the phone,
happens, man. Something
the conversation just always seems to go down that slippery slope. So it's very important to really take to be conscious, and not say, oh, it's not going to affect me, it's not going to know, but to consciously say, this is not the best way for me to go.
I want to key in on what you said about staying busy, and as a teen ambassador, you've made yourself responsible to younger children and to do not only just stay busy for busy's sake, but busy doing good things.
Doing good things.
And this is, of course, another thing that the devil would like to take away from us, that, you know, we just busy doing our own thing for our own purpose, but we have to be busy doing what God wants us to do.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. All of us here are very much involved in church. You know, I always say my first priority is church when it comes to being involved. But I mean, always at your church, always doing something. That's what keeps me. That's what keeps me. Being pure part of and pure ambassadors and pure reality. And you know, Jonathan does naps, and Sasha, you know, he's doing ministry. And that's what keeps you, because the more you get involved in this work, is the closer you get to Christ. And the closer you get to Christ is the more it's able to keep you. So being involved, like, you know, Kean says, in the good things, closer to Christ, doing his work, removing self, is really the way to go.
That's right. That's it. We have a few more minutes left, but I really want to tackle relationships a little bit. And I know some young ladies watching are wanting us to ask some of these questions about relationships. And I want to ask this question. And as men, we got to be real. We got to be honest. The question is, why is it so hard for us brothers to pop the question? And I know my brother here, he's married, so he did it. He made the plunge. So why is it so hard, you think, for us now? You know, a lot of young ladies kind of complain about that. So he's just kind of dating me. Talking about that, what do y'all think?
If I may answer first, I think that for me personally, one of the main thing is knowing when it's God's time. Sometimes we want to move in our own time, whether it be the guy or the young lady. We want, to move on and do this, for whatever pressure there is. But it's important to remember what God's time is. And if we move on God's time, we will find ourselves to be in a better position to succeed than to fail. And one of the things is that for myself, I have now been in a relationship for like almost 6 years now. And one of the main things is purity, because a lot of people I've encountered, or young ladies I may even be interested in, purity is not that important to them. So when you don't have that connection or that thing in common, then we can move forward. So we have to make sure that when it comes to principles and values and morals, that the young man and the young lady, they have those things in common. And also that both people are ready for that next step so they can move ahead.
I mean, let's just say it, just plain. Sometimes it's hard to find a good woman. I mean, they always talk about it's hard to find a good man, but in us who are trying to be right, it's kind of hard to find a good woman. You know?
I started preaching at like 12. So then, like, by the time I was like 15, 16, I was starting to get invited to places. And what I've realized is so many times, especially down in, because I'm from Miami, it's a highly Caribbean and things like that. They just want their children to be with ministers so bad. And it got to one point where I was like, this is ridiculous. This lady, I just met her that day when I spoke. And she took me into a room with her. I was 16, and she took me with her 16-year-old granddaughter, and like, this is my granddaughter. She's single. She's 16. Why don't you guys speak? And then left and closed the door. And I'm thinking to myself, this is your grandchild, not property. You don't know me from anywhere. You don't know if I'm just good at preaching. And what I've realized is, we approach marriage very, very wrong, very, very, very incorrectly. Marriage is supposed to be preyed on. It's not just because a person looks good from the outside. You don't know what they struggle with. You don't know their family history. What type of generational curses are you inviting on your children, on your offspring, because you don't know the person. And I think that spiritual aspect is lacking. And also with dating, as Maxwood said, it's very difficult to find someone who's bent on purity. So many times I've like spoken to a girl or tried to be interested in her and invest time in her. And what it starts off is, because they know, like, basically what I do or my history with purity and things like that, they put a facade up that they're pure, that they're genuinely trying to live right. And then within like 6 months of speaking to them, not even dating, they would say, why haven't you kissed me? And I'm thinking to myself, did you hear what you just said? What happened to that purity? What happened to waiting? Because people forget, a kiss is something very, very, very powerful. A kiss. It's not something to be thrown around, and it's so sad that mainstream society and TV just throws kisses around. Kisses are used to seal your marriage. You may kiss your bride. And things like that. Kisses are intricate because, your lips are very sensitive. The most sensitive part of your body is your lips. And when you kiss someone, you can just open doors to all type of sexual immorality after that. And I feel like, if you're going to try to become wifey material, as we would say, someone who's worth being a wife, and you would like someone to be engaged, firstly, you have to value yourself so that they can know that you're valuable. And secondly, give them something to go after. Don't just throw everything on the table, because if the guy doesn't feel like there's anything to chase for, most likely he's not going to ask the question.
It's honest, It's deep. It's good.
So for those reasons, how important is it then to depend on God? Because you say that we put up facades all the time, and how do we approach that?
Well, in the Bible, there are a few indications of what it means to be a man. When God made Adam, he had a job. He was supposed to take care of the garden. He was knowledgeable. He knew what his purpose was in life, and he was at one with God. God gave him his mind, and we don't look for that. We don't look for people with the mind of God anymore. So much so that he had the mind of God, and so much so that they were one, that the Bible never lists that God told Eve the rules of the garden. Adam knew his duties as the husband and told Eve what she was supposed to do, you know, or what the rules were and how to follow the will of God. And also the next example I would like to use is Jacob. Sorry. He worked 7 years for his first wife that he didn't want, but he worked those 7 years because he loved that woman.
Right.
He loved her. And so many times girls are saying they don't want to wait, or they don't want to wait to give their boyfriend his sexual needs because he's not going to wait for them. And if he's not going to wait for you, he doesn't love you.
Exactly.
He doesn't value you. He doesn't cherish you. And those are not the qualities you would like in a husband.
Yeah.
So.
And the good thing about Adam and Eve was when Adam was ready, God brought Eve to him. He didn't have to go out looking for her.
Yeah.
God knew Adam and exactly what he needed.
Yes.
And the same with Eve.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about waiting on God. And really a lot of this has to do with waiting, you know. It's just being willing to wait on him and trust in him that he will give you that great experience when it's time. And in thinking about that in practical, we only have a few minutes left, but John, we were talking about Job 31 and how it says, I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid? Why should I even look at a woman? Now, in our society, in media, it's hard to keep our eyes holy. Is this applicable today?
Most definitely, I believe so. And I honestly believe the enemy has done a great job of making all the things in this life, everything that we do, you know. I love basketball. If I go to a basketball game, there's cheerleaders there. Go to a football game, same thing. And these people, these women are half naked.
Right.
You know, music, and you just start thinking about certain things when you hear certain types of music.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the way you would do that is abstaining from certain things. You know, like I said, you know, I like to watch basketball, I like to play basketball. I'm not going to just stop watching basketball altogether, but I'm not going to put myself and go to a game if I know I'm going to see these type of things. You know, I'll watch it from my home, you know, these type of things. And it's not just walking in the street with your eyes up and not looking at anyone. It has nothing to do with that. But I believe it's more of a mental thing. Like, what are you going to do? You know, are you going to go to this store here where you know they have these type of things? Because I know, you know, guys, we're very, very visual. And if you even look at a Victoria's Secret catalog, it's your mind is going crazy. It's going crazy. So it just goes back to, what are you doing with your time? You know, what are you doing with your time? What are the type of people that you're around? You know, because all these things have a part to play in your eyes. You know, making a covenant with your eyes with God.
Man, that is so true. We really have to make that covenant with our eyes. And in the practical sense, when we're watching something on TV, we're watching a show, we have to turn away from that thing. Turn it off, you know, walk away, get out of the room, you know, and really make that covenant. And I truly believe that we can do it. And if there's a man watching here, you can do it. There is hope. You can make it happen. And just know that God is there with you. So that's our program for today. We're going to wrap it up here. But remember, make pure choices.